Okay, so dear professors, today we are looking at business and society. Business and society, or better still, business and its environment. So before we even begin to look at what we have on the screen, I want to tease your brains more by looking at these two terms. I think we are very much appreciative of what a business is, but let's look at what a society is. So professors, in your own understanding, what is a society? Today, please, I beg of you, each and every one of you should bring on your contribution so that the class will be so interactive and not boring. So what is a society? When you hear the word society, what comes to mind, please? I think today I'll be doing calling more than. So let me call on Prof. Selikim. Prof. Selikim, society. What is a society?
Service, good afternoon.
Afternoon, Prof. Go ahead.
Service, from my understanding, a society is a group of people, activities, and culture.
Okay. So a group of people, and that is very true, who share some common things together. It could be language, culture, or they interact with each other in a specific area or confinement, right? So the essence of this topic is to look at how businesses relate with the community or the vicinity where they are established. Okay, so by the end of the discussions, it is expected that professors will appreciate the following. So at least we need to appreciate the environment that the business finds itself. So the key ideas, one, the environment, and the environment could be external or internal, right? And then we also do some analysis. I'll speak more on that analysis. These analyses are based on your interactions with your internal environment and external environment. And then finally, we'll look at corporate social responsibility, which also is just backing the point that businesses are supposed to relate with their environment. So dear professors, our focus will be on looking at the environment of a business, specifically the internal and external. If I want to give you a simple case, if you are a business, you find yourself in an environment, you live where there are other people, there are other businesses, there is the government, there is a chief, there is a district assemblyman or municipal chief executive, whatever. Okay, all these people are found around you, right? And they form part of your society or environment. So this is what we want to take a look at. So without wasting time, let's look at the internal environment of a business. Internal environment of a business. And I'll employ one of you to read what we have on the screen for internal environment of a business. I think I may have to call a professor. Who will be the reader for us? Let me call Prof. Na Amalibano. Prof. Na, please do the reading for us.
Okay. Internal business environment. The internal business environment refers to all the factors and conditions that exist within an organization which influence or affect its performance or operations. These are factors over which the organization has a certain degree of control and can directly influence. They include organizational culture, management structure, human resources, financial resources, physical resources, internal processes, products or services, brand reputation, etc.
Okay, thank you very much. Hold on there. So, dear professors, when we speak about the internal environment of a business, then we are looking at the specific factors and conditions. Please note that factors and conditions that the business has control over. So the business can manipulate these factors and conditions. Now, if I use you as a business, there are certain factors you can control, or there are certain conditions you can control as a person. Of course, you can control how you eat, you can control how you learn, okay, you can control how you use the washroom, right? These are things you have control over. You can even control how to bath. Some of you will do it once a day, others, but the ladies, I'm sure they do it 3 times a day. The gentlemen, we don't want to go about or go into that debate. So these are factors that you have control over. So most of the internal environment of a business comprises of things or factors or conditions that the business has control and can influence or manipulate it. Okay, so examples of some of these items, one include the organizational culture. The next is management structure, the human resources, financial resources, internal processes, product, services, brand reputation. In fact, there are a lot of them. We have technology, the business technology, the leadership, the human resource, I think that is here, the organizational structure. So let's delve a bit into most of these things that we are reading about. So the first one, organizational culture. I believe we all know what a culture is. They say culture is the way of life of a group of people, how they live, their beliefs and values. So businesses have their unique culture. There are some businesses, if you are working there as an employee, there is a way you have to dress. There is a way you have to speak. I don't know if you have experienced that. If you visit 2 different businesses, you realize that, okay, in this particular business, this is how the workers dress, this is how they talk, okay? So that is the organizational culture. There are some values and beliefs. There are some businesses when you enter, customers are always right. Customers are treated very well. That is what they believe. Okay. Management structure. There are some businesses that have just one general manager who oversees everything. Elsewhere, you find like 3 or 4 or even 2, right? So the management structure of a business is one factor the business can manipulate or control. The other one is the human resource, the employees, right? Financial resources. Does the business have assets? Does it have other resources like the cash, the buildings, the land? Okay. Internal processes. Okay, there are some businesses, they streamline processes to get things done. I want to use an example. I worked in this business and they pay the workers on the 31st of every month. except February, which has 28 or 29 days, and other months which have 30 days. But their salaries are paid on the 31st. Another workplace or business firm, they pay their workers middle of the month, 15th. Okay, so businesses have their own internal processes and internal controls. There are some businesses, if you handle cash, you'll be in trouble. All cash should be sent to the bank, right? So that is about the internal processes, how they go about their daily routines, etc. And then the products and the services they are offering, okay, their brand. These are things or factors the business can control. That is why it cuts for an internal business environment. And I hope my professors really appreciate this. Okay, so now
Yes,
that
please.
great. Now that we know of this internal environment and some of the conditions or factors present in the internal environment, the question is, why are we supposed to know these factors or conditions? Because knowledge of these would help us to do some analysis. And we are going to use this analysis called SWOT analysis. SWOT, S-W-O-T, SWOT analysis. And each of the letter in there represents something. So I think you can see the diagram here. The S is for strengths, W is for weaknesses, O is for opportunities, and then the T is for threats. Okay. Now this SWOT analysis is a tool that was designed by a scholar to assist businesses do better analysis of their environment to be able to make use of certain opportunities or certain opportunities they would have over their competitors. Okay. Now, what kind of analysis can you do in your internal environment? In your internal environment, you can only do the S and the W, which is the strength and weakness analysis. So if you look at the internal conditions or factors, you try to build on your strengths and also work on your weaknesses, right? The O and T definitely will drop down when we look at the external environment. Okay, so let's move on. So like I indicated to you, the first two components, that's the S and the W, which is the strength and weaknesses, are used to do internal environment analysis of a business. Okay, and I think we'll come back to how we do such analysis. Okay, now let's move on. So we'll come back properly to do the analysis of our internal environment. But I need us to quickly get the idea about the external environment of a business. But before that, since professors know what the internal environment of a business is, can my professors suggest what the external environment would be? Just share your thoughts. External environment of a business. What would that be? Okay, was somebody talking? Okay. Prof. Enam, can you share with us your idea of the external environment? Okay, whoever has an idea to share can alert me so that Prof. Janelle. Okay, Prof. now has something, but let me see if Janelle would assist us before I come to Prof. now. Prof. Janelle, I'm waiting on you patiently. Okay, let me take a submission from now. Prof. Now go ahead.
An external business environment, it deals with the factors and conditions that exist outside the business organization.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. That's awesome. Of course, if the internal environment comprises of the conditions and factors that exist within the business, then the external environment is looking at those conditions and factors outside the business. But what is important is that, as we saw, the conditions and factors in the internal environment are ones that the business can control, can manipulate. So what do you think will be the case for external environment factors? Can the business control?
No, please.
Okay, Prof. Josephine says no. Any other thoughts? Prof. Janelle, I think you can share your thoughts on this one. Do you feel that a business can control or manipulate factors in the external environment? I hope my professors.
Sir, please.
Janelle, yeah, take it again. Sorry.
Sir, please, no.
Okay. Now, I think my professors are beginning to appreciate the concept, and so I'm getting the feeling to ask more questions. If that is the case, can we discuss some of the factors or conditions that are outside a business, but in one way or the other affects the business? Okay, so just to give you a clue, in the internal environment, we saw that even the human resource or the employees form part of the, those factors or conditions that a business can control, right? We also saw the resources the business have apart from the human, like the financial resources or the capital, right? We also saw the organizational structure, how the business is structured, okay, how decisions are taken, the lines of authority, etc. Right? So can we suggest or guess, okay, somebody has typed in the chat, that is awesome, Prof. Selikem says, political and economic factors. Political and economic factors. That's awesome. Great. Can we get more? Can we get more, professors? Let me call on Portia. Portia hasn't spoken. Portia is taking it cool today. Prof. Portia.
Say,
Yeah.
can you come again?
So we are looking at some of the conditions or factors that are outside a business, but has the probability or capacity to affect how the business operates. Okay. I think Portia wants to hire Prof. Augustine Akoli. So Akoli, may I hear from you? Somebody has suggested political and economic factors. So you, Prof. Akoli, I didn't hear you. Okay, I think Janelle is okay. Prof. Janelle.
Sir, please, social and technological factors.
Social and technological factors. Okay, that's great. Prof. Augustine Akoli, I think you wanted to make a point.
That is, what I'm not say.
Yes, Prof. Augustine, are you missing or are you lost? Okay, I think Augustine might be having some network challenges, so let's move on. Josephine wants to add. Josephine, go ahead.
The regulatory and legal changes.
Okay, regulatory and legal changes. That's great. In fact, I appreciate all the factors that you have given. Now let's delve into it. So let's all appreciate that when we talk of the environment of a business, we are looking at the conditions and factors, right, that has the capacity to affect how a business operates, right? So let's take, for example, if you are, let's say, running a cold store business, right? And then you set it up in a place where the people don't like fish or frozen fish. That is a factor or a condition that will affect you. But do you have control over it? The answer will be no, because you can't control what people should consume, right? Now, again, if there are occurrent light out, like we experienced some years ago, Doomso, that is going to affect your business. Now, that issue was a problem with the government, right? But it has an impact on the business. So the environment of a business is really looking at all the things that affect a business. Now we are saying some of these things are internal, some are external. I think we appreciate the internal. Now for the external, like you have rightly given, political and economic factors, very key. Because of the politics of where a business finds itself, the business can succeed or it can fail. Where we have politicians making decisions, about how a business should operate. Then, of course, a business would have a battle to deal with when it comes to these political issues, right? There are some businesses when there's even a change of government, they begin to cry because they feel the new government is not their friend and they are going to be in trouble, right? So the political and legal environment is one of them. So details of that includes maybe policies from the government, laws and regulations by the government or by politicians, okay, and even political stability. Imagine all the businesses operating in Ghana. If the 2024 elections, if there was some conflict and it led to war, what do you think would have happened? All the businesses would have shut down, or no business will flourish in an unstable environment. So political stability is even a key factor when it comes to analyzing the environment of a business. Then we look at the social and cultural values of the people in the community, right? So the example I gave you, there are some communities, the people don't like certain type of products. So their tastes, their values, their attitudes and behavior has a potential of affecting the business. Okay. And these things are in the external environment because the business cannot control. The business is better okay to control the internal environment, but for the external environment, the business has no control over. The other one we can think about is competition. Competition from other businesses. Okay, imagine you set up your own restaurant where you sell fried rice. The next moment you see another person coming up with another restaurant offering the same thing you're offering, right? It's an external factor that you have no control over. Okay, great. So just to read something small, it says The external business environment refers to factors and conditions outside the organization's control, okay, that can significantly impact its performance and decision making. So they include things like market condition, economic conditions. So economic condition, we can talk of inflation, exchange rates. All these things affect the business, and businesses cannot control the inflation and the exchange rate, right? Political and legal factors, technological advancement, social and cultural trends, demographic factors. If you set up a business where majority of the people living there are children, then you should know the type of things you have to produce there. Okay. Now back to the SWOT analysis. As we indicated, the O and the T represent opportunities and threats. So if professors will appreciate, the SWOT analysis will help you to screen your internal and external environment, all with the aim of being successful as a business. So for your internal environment, what you can do is to look at your strengths and weaknesses. And then for the external environment, you screen for opportunities and threats. Okay, I think I'll pause here. If there are questions, professors, you ask me. If there are no questions, we'll join the second session and continue our discussion. But before we go, I just want professors to appreciate that we are looking at a business environment. And we have just determined that the business environment refers to the conditions and factors that affect a business performance, right? And we have identified that the environment can be classified into two, the internal and external. The internal factors or environment are those conditions that the business can control or manipulate. And it includes the human resource or the employees, the financial resources, the organizational culture and structure, etc. For the external environment, the business cannot control this environment, and it normally presents opportunities and threats for the business to screen and make use of. And some of the factors in there are the political factors, the economic factors, technological changes or advancement, the social and cultural trends of the people living there, even the demographic factors. Demographic here means the age of the people, the sex, whether male or female, okay, etc. So questions for me, professors? No questions, please let's all join the second session using the second session details. So don't wait for any 9 minutes or 8 minutes. Just put in the second session code and then we'll join and continue. Thank you, Prof.
Thank you, sir.